Imagine a world without armies, no soldiers marching, no bombs dropping, no tanks rolling. This might seem like a far-fetched dream. But what if it wasn't? What if we could create a world where countries no longer relied on military force to solve their problems? This is the radical idea we're exploring, a world where every country chooses to disarm, a world where the resources currently spent on weapons and warfare are redirected towards peace, development, and human well-being. This is not just wishful thinking. There are real-world examples of countries that have successfully demilitarized. These examples offer valuable lessons for the rest of the world. Moving towards a demilitarized world won't be easy. There will be challenges, but the potential rewards, a world free from the scourge of war, are too great to ignore. In the heart of Central America, a small nation stands as a beacon of peace. Costa Rica, a country of lush rainforests and stunning beaches, made a bold decision in 1949. It abolished its army. Instead of investing in weapons, Costa Rica chose to invest in its people. Education, healthcare, and environmental protection became top priorities, and the results speak for themselves. Costa Rica boasts a high standard of living, a stable democracy, and a peaceful society. It has become a model for other countries looking for alternative paths to security and prosperity. Costa Rica shows us that demilitarization is not a utopian dream. It is a real possibility, one that can lead to a brighter future for all. Military might is expensive. Countries pour vast sums of money into their armed forces, buying weapons, building bases, and training soldiers. This spending creates a complex web of economic interests. The military-industrial complex, a term coined by President Eisenhower, describes the close relationship between governments and the defense industry. This relationship can be a powerful obstacle to demilitarization. Economic power often translates into military power. Richer countries can afford to build larger and more sophisticated armies. This creates a system where military strength becomes a key measure of a nation's standing in the world. Breaking free from this cycle of militarism and arms races requires a fundamental shift in thinking. We need to move away from the idea that security comes from military strength alone. The desire for security is deeply ingrained in human nature. From the earliest days of human civilization, people have sought ways to protect themselves and their loved ones from harm. This fundamental need for safety has shaped societies and driven technological advancements throughout history. For centuries, nations have relied on military force to protect their borders and defend their interests. Armies, navies, and air forces have been the primary tools of national security, often showcased in grand displays of power and strength. These forces are meant to deter potential aggressors and reassure citizens of their safety. The fear of attack, real or perceived, is a powerful motivator. It drives nations to invest heavily in defense, sometimes at the cost of other critical areas such as education, healthcare, and infrastructure. The constant vigilance required to maintain security can create a pervasive sense of anxiety among the populace. It leads countries to build up their armies even at the expense of other priorities. Resources that could be used to improve the quality of life for citizens are often diverted to fund military expenditures. This can result in neglected public services and a lower standard of living for many. This can create a climate of fear and distrust, making conflict more likely. When nations prioritize military strength over diplomatic solutions, it can lead to an arms race where each side feels compelled to outdo the other. This escalation increases the risk of misunderstandings and accidental confrontations. But what if true security lay not in military might, but in cooperation and mutual understanding? Imagine a world where nations work together to address common threats, such as climate change, pandemics, and economic instability. By fostering trust and collaboration, we can create a more stable and secure global environment. What if, instead of preparing for war, we focused on building a world where war is no longer an option? This would involve investing in education, promoting cultural exchange, and supporting initiatives that encourage peaceful coexistence. By addressing the root causes of conflict, we can reduce the likelihood of violence. This is the challenge we face, to create a system of global security that does not rely on the threat of violence. It requires a shift in mindset from one of competition to one of cooperation. International organizations and agreements play a crucial role in this new paradigm. providing frameworks for peaceful conflict resolution. It will require new institutions, new mechanisms for resolving conflict, and a new way of thinking about our place in the world. By embracing these changes, we can build a future where security is achieved through unity and understanding rather than fear and force. Section 5, A New World Order, Reimagining Global Relations. In this section, we explore the evolving dynamics of global interactions and the potential for a new paradigm in international relations. The world today is governed by a complex web of international institutions, treaties, and alliances. These frameworks have been instrumental in maintaining a semblance of order and cooperation among nations. Many of these structures were created in the aftermath of World War II, a time when the world was determined to prevent another global conflict. The devastation of the war led to a collective resolve to build a more stable and peaceful international community. But the old order is under strain. The rapid pace of globalization and technological advancement has introduced new complexities and challenges that the existing systems struggle to address. New challenges from climate change to cyber warfare are testing the limits of traditional security arrangements. These issues transcend national borders and require a coordinated global response. The rise of nationalism and populism is eroding trust between nations. This growing distrust makes it difficult to forge the kind of international cooperation needed to tackle global issues effectively. A world without militaries would require a fundamental rethinking of global governance. It would necessitate the creation of new frameworks for conflict resolution and peacekeeping. We would need new institutions capable of mediating disputes, enforcing international law, and responding to threats to peace. These institutions would have to be robust, inclusive, and adaptable to the changing global landscape. This would be a monumental task. Building such a system from the ground up would require unprecedented levels of international collaboration and trust. But it is not an impossible one. Human history is filled with examples of overcoming great odds and achieving what once seemed unattainable. The history of humanity is a story of adaptation and progress. From the invention of the wheel to the digital revolution, we have continually pushed the boundaries of what is possible. We have overcome seemingly insurmountable challenges before. Whether it was eradicating diseases, landing on the moon, or advancing civil rights, our collective efforts have led to remarkable achievements. We can do so again. By reimagining global relations and working together, we can build a future that is more just, peaceful, and sustainable for all. Section 6, From Swords to Plowshares, the Economic Impact. Demilitarization would have profound economic implications. The global arms industry is a multi-billion-dollar enterprise employing millions of people worldwide. Shifting away from military production would require careful planning and investment in alternative industries. But the economic benefits of demilitarization could be enormous. The resources currently devoted to weapons and warfare could be redirected towards education, healthcare, infrastructure, and other essential services. This could lead to a surge in economic growth, job creation, and improved living standards around the world. Imagine a world where every child has access to quality education, where everyone has access to healthcare, and where poverty is a distant memory. This is the promise of a demilitarized world, a world where we invest in people, not weapons. Section 7. Resolving conflict without violence. Conflict is an inevitable part of human interaction, but violence is not. There are many ways to resolve disputes peacefully through dialogue, negotiation, mediation, and arbitration. We need to strengthen existing mechanisms for peaceful conflict resolution and develop new ones. This includes investing in diplomacy, strengthening international law, and promoting intercultural understanding. We also need to address the root causes of conflict, such as poverty, inequality, and injustice. By creating a more just and equitable world, we can reduce the likelihood of conflict in the first place. Section 8. A world of peace. The promise and the potential. A world without militaries might seem like a distant utopia, but the benefits of such a world are too great to ignore. Imagine a world without war, where disputes are settled peacefully, and where resources are no longer wasted on weapons of destruction. In this world, we could finally focus on solving the real challenges facing humanity: poverty, hunger, disease, and climate change. we could unlock the full potential of human ingenuity and creativity. This is the promise of a demilitarized world, a world of peace, prosperity, and progress for all. It is a vision worth striving for. Section 9. Building a demilitarized future, challenges and opportunities. In this section, we will explore the intricate path towards a world where military conflicts are a thing of the past and peace is the norm. Achieving global demilitarization will be a long and challenging process. It involves dismantling deeply entrenched systems and ideologies that have been in place for centuries. It will require a fundamental shift in thinking, a willingness to embrace new ideas, and a commitment to cooperation on a global scale. This means fostering dialogue between nations, encouraging transparency and building trust. There will be obstacles along the way. Political tensions, economic interests, and historical grievances can all pose significant challenges. There will be those who cling to the old ways, who believe that security can only come from military strength. These individuals and groups may resist change, fearing the unknown, but we cannot let fear and cynicism stand in the way of progress. History has shown us that great achievements often come from overcoming great challenges. The journey towards a demilitarized world begins with a single step. It starts with individuals and communities advocating for peace and disarmament. It begins with a conversation, an idea, a belief that a better world is possible. These small actions can ripple outwards, creating a larger movement for change. A belief that a better world is possible. Imagine a world where resources are directed towards education, healthcare, and sustainable development instead of military expenditure. It begins with each and every one of us. Let us choose peace. Let us choose cooperation. Let us work together to build a future where our children can live without the fear of war. Let us choose a future free from the threat of war. A future where humanity thrives in harmony and mutual respect. Together, we can make this vision a reality.